Okay, so we're here on notes 3.1, the angles. And so quick review of our definitions from earlier unit is a ray is one endpoint and goes infinite in one direction. And so it's something that goes one way. An angle is just two rays with a common endpoint called a vertex. And so if we look at this, we just see we have two rays, and so when it says name, we have to name it in geometry, so that would be my BA with my ray symbol on top. And then my other side is the BC, again with my symbol on top. My vertex is the end point, is just point B, and I name the angle with my angle symbol and all three letters. So ABC, or I could do CBA, but vertex is always, point is always in the middle. So I can start from here and name it, or I can start from here and name it, but the vertex has to be. So then we're asked, how does the diagram in example 1 differ from here? And this one has multiple angles, because we have this ray PR in the middle. And so here we can label three different angles. And so I have angle QPR, I have angle RPS, I could also say I have angle QPS. It could be the whole thing. So I can't say angle P because I don't know which one it is. Up here I could say angle B. Angle B right here, that's the only option, and so that lets me know what it is. But usually we use all three letters so there's no confusion. Alright, then we get to one of our nice geometry postulates. If angle R is in the interior of angle QPS, then QPR plus RPS equals QPS. That's a lot of letters in geometry. And what this just is just like we did with segments, is just stating part plus part equals the whole. So flip on to the next page. And now we're just going to do a couple examples. Remember, we're just doing part plus part equals whole. So we look, PQS. Is that the part or is the whole? And I say, okay, that's my whole. So usually I would label whole by going like around like this. So that's QPS is 77. Or I could do big arch out here. And PQR is my part, it's 32. So what can I do to find RQS? And so all I do is subtract. So I do my whole minus the part to get the other part, which is 45. Alright, the next example is almost the same, but here we do have an X in there. So again, I'm going to label AOC, that would be my whole. AOB would be part. BOC would be the other part. And so I can label it on my diagram. Or I can just write out my part plus part equals whole. So X plus 10 plus X equals 70. And then I do the math to solve it. So combine like terms, 2x plus 10 equals 70. Subtract the 10 from both sides of the equation. 2x equals 60. And divide by 2 to get x equals 30. And then it asks me to plug it back in. So BOC is just x. And so the answer is just 30 degrees. AOB is the x plus 10, and so that gives me 40 degrees. Just 30 plus 10. so flip on over to the next page. And this one, I'm sure you know, but let's fill in. An angle less than 90 degrees is acute. Equal to 90 degrees is called a right angle. Greater than 90 degrees is obtuse. And equal to 180 is straight. And so if you want the visual of them, that would be a straight angle, obtuse. Right always has to be labeled for us, and acute. So in here, it's really important. Name and measure classification, those are all different things. So our name is where we use the letters. So it could be YFI, it could be IFY, or it could be just angle F, because there's only one option there. It measures 35. That is an acute angle. Okay, so take a minute to pause the video and see if you can do the rest on your own. And you'll check the answers later. Alright, so here are the answers if you want to check your work. Hopefully you took the time to try to figure them out on your own. Check and see if you got any different answers. Then flip on over to the next page. There's lots of pages of notes today because angles are so big when you draw them out. And so next we have an angle bisector, which just like we did last unit. A bisector means it's the exact middle, so it's a line, ray, or segment that divides the angle into two congruent angles. So the word congruent means equal, and our symbol for congruent is this symbol, an equal sign with a wavy line on top. So it means we're dealing with equal halves. So we have half plus half equals the whole. Okay, so here we're just asked, it says it is an angle bisector, the two congruent angles, and we're just naming them. So that would be our angle WXZ, that come to the half, and then angle ZXY. Now we throw the numbers in there. So when I'm looking at this, it tells me it bisects, so I'm dealing with either half equals half, or 2 halves equals the whole. And so I check EFG. EFG, that would be half. And GFH is another half. GFH. And if I want to, I could draw it out here and label EFG is 5x minus 10. GFH is 3x plus 25. Or I can just recognize I have halves. So I just set it up. 5x minus 10 equals 3x plus 25. And I solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides of my equation. So that cancels out. That becomes 2x minus 10 equals 25. Then I'll add 10 to both sides. That cancels out. I'm left with 2x equals 35. And I divide by 2 to get x equals 17.5. Alright, my next one I check GFH, that's half again, right here. And so I can go ahead and label 3x plus 20. And then EFH, that's actually my whole thing. My EFH is 4x plus 80. And so here I have to do 2 halves equals the whole. And so I do 2 of my 3x plus 20 equals 4x plus 80. And then I solve. So distribute to get 6x plus 40 equals 4x plus 80. Then I subtract 4x from both sides to make that one cancel out. Then I have 2x plus 40 equals 80. Subtract 40 to get 2x equals 40. And divide by 2 to get x equals 20. And I'm finished.